Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host Dr. Jean Dorio on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And speaking of enhancing one's quality of life, who hasn't experienced stress? I'm sure everyone out here in our listening audience has experienced it at some time or another. And our guest this morning, Alex Urbina, he's a life leadership coach, and he also works with Action Family Zone. He's going to be talking about stress. Welcome, Alex.
Thanks
It's
for
good.
having me.
It's
Appreciate
good to have you back again.
It's always a pleasure.
And what does the word stress mean to you?
Stress means to me that there's something that we are resisting in our life, and it's something that we're trying to control. And I believe that when you get clear that you're not in control of anything that's outside of you, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, other people's actions, the way the world shows up that's outside of me, that I have no control of it. And so once I get really crystal clear about there are things that which I can control, that's all within me, and that's all I can control, then that frees me up to allow myself to be at peace, to be at ease with life events or certain situations that show up in my life. And when I get crystal clear about that, I'm not resisting things that are out of my control, or the things that it just frees me up. And so I believe that stress comes on when there are certain things I want to be in control of.
Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Hi, Jean.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
I'm
Alex,
doing okay.
welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good words, but words that kind of make you think, how did you get to the point where you can look at this in a philosophic way and remove the stress in your life to make better decisions?
Once I got clear about the distinction of control versus no control, once it really clicked for me, and it took some practice, but as I started to implement in my own life and getting really crystal clear about control versus no control, it just started, I started noticing that I was showing up in life more at ease, more at peace, more surrendered. And I got to a point where one day I woke up and realized, you know what, I'm not stressed out about any situation that shows up in my daily life. So the stress starts to eliminate a little bit more at a time. Every day, more and more as I become more conscious of the way I'm living my life.
But the control and non-control was a personal sense and feeling, though, as opposed to people from the outside having control or not having control of your life?
Well, I'm only in control of my own life. I'm in control of my own thoughts. I'm in control of my own choices. And I think the main key is that I'm in charge and in control of my perceptions, which was huge. Once I realized that I can perceive certain situations however I want, it changed my reality. And when it changed my reality and I was able to see each new event as a blessing rather than something that I don't want, instantly I was transformed.
Now, isn't that an attitude, though, and that thought process of life as opposed to just control and non-control? I mean, didn't you once you realize whether you had control or not, you said, okay, I'm shifting my attitude and how I'm going to think about this, and then change how I approach things?
Yeah, it was more, I look at it more through my perception, my viewpoint. It's how I perceive the way life shows up to me, how I perceive the way people speak to me, how I perceive the choices that are now available for me to choose from. So it's more of a perspective shift rather than thinking that you can control the things that are outside of your own choosing.
Wow. Well, your philosophy is in front of you now, and with that change in your life, you've allowed yourself to move forward to help other people.
That's right. I'm just crystal clear now about the things that I can control and the things that I can't. So when people look over at me, or people are having a hard time or stressed out about certain things in their life, and they look over at me and they're like, aren't you upset? Aren't you, doesn't that bother you? And I look at them and say, quite frankly, no, because I realize that I'm not in control of that. And that frees me up to be able to influence at that point a different outcome. See, I have to first resist that which I can't control to free me up, to put me in a space at which now I can use my abilities to influence a different outcome.
But when we come back, why don't we talk about, Alex, how you're teaching others about that control and that perception? Because you found that, so others should be able to find that too.
Absolutely.
We'll be back in just a few moments on the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio with my co-host, Barbara Cochran, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Hi, I'm Corey Peck, principal of West Creek Academy in Valencia, and you're watching SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
Escape reality at the Ivy Day Spa in Valencia. Relax your mind in our tranquil solarium. Unwind during your VIP massage. Rejuvenate with advanced diamond tip microdermabrasion, or choose from a variety of facial treatments. For a unique spa experience, visit the grotto, where you'll enjoy a full body exfoliating scrub in an exotic setting. Schedule your escape today and receive a 50% discount on a VIP grotto experience with your next full service treatment at the Ivy Day Spa in Valencia.
Hi, I'm Dan Sturkle, General Manager at Nissan Valencia, home to the $99 down delivers. I'm standing next to two of my most favorite vehicles, the completely redone 2013 Altima with its unbelievable 38 miles to the gallon, and the 2012 fully electric Leaf. It goes 100 miles for under $5. Here at Nissan of Valencia, not only do we have some of the lowest prices on our new Nissans, but we also have extremely low prices on our vast inventory of pre-owned vehicles. Come see us at the all-new Nissan of Valencia, home to the $99 down delivers.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Gene Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're speaking with Alex Urbina, who is a life leadership coach. And our topic this morning is stress. And believe me, I've experienced a great deal of stress. And in the last 4 or 5 months, but I've begun to learn how to put it away, how to remove myself from it, because I've realized getting uptight and I've literally had to clench my fists sometimes. That's how uptight I've been.
But how do you remove yourself, Barb? Is this physically or mentally? I mean, what I'm saying is great that you have been able to do that, but it's so hard for most people to get to a point where they can take a step back and say, I have this problem, I'm going to deal with it, and now move forward, keep taking steps forward. How do you do that?
Well, I've known for a long time that stress can kill you.
Absolutely.
And it really can. And if you let yourself, I can tell when I'm stressed because I feel tight inside. Just like I can tell when my blood pressure is high. I have that same feeling inside, and it's either my blood pressure, or which does go up when I'm stressed, or it's stress. And what I've learned to do is sit down and take deep breaths and think about what is stressing me. What's happening around me that is causing me to stress me? Because it's not necessarily anybody else. It's me. That whatever it is in me is I'm trying to pull somebody else in or something else in, and that's not what it is. It's all me.
And let's talk about that stress and the impact that it has on us physically and mentally. Because once you start feeling the stress, you said your blood pressure goes up.
Yeah.
But mentally, you also don't sleep. You start making mental errors. You're not judging things correctly. The logic that you may have once had before, out the door. I mean, this is a harder subject to tackle because our seniors every day are facing stress. I mean, we have the situation going on at the senior center right now with the food, the meals, home delivered meals, and serving meals there. And some of them are threatened because that one meal a day is all they get.
That's right.
And they're not knowing what are they going to do tomorrow. And they want $3.50 for the meal, and you can just make a donation and don't have to make a donation. But the fact is that all of us feel obligated to pay our own way, and by walking in and taking a so-called handout we're not comfortable with that. No one is in this country. So we want to give something, but knowing that you have to give something creates that stress in our seniors' lives.
The other thing too, you can take it further, is money being tight. Look at the heat wave.
Mm-hmm.
Seniors think, I can't afford to keep my air conditioning on. It's going to cost me too much money.
Mm-hmm.
Then what am I going to do? I can't pay the electricity bill, so I'm going to cut it off.
Right, and they do.
And they do.
They do, and people.
And that's the most dangerous thing they can do.
Absolutely, and once again, we always discuss the issues about our seniors, Alex, and talk about how important it is for them to stay hydrated during this time. Close the drapes up during the daytime. Not go out if they can avoid it because of the pollutants that are out there. But to wear cotton clothes if they are going to go out. A hat if they can, sunglasses, lotion if they can put on. But the most important thing is to stay hydrated. And, you know, with the Olympics recently, they had this little thing about whether sports drinks really work or not. And being like I am, I've always been athletic, and I've always had something to drink that is an athletic drink by my side. But the study, and it was from like Harvard or somewhere, said that if you work out, and they said 2 hours a day or more, then you need to have a sports drink. And I laughed. I said, who the heck works out 2 hours or more a day? Not me ever in my whole life, I don't think. So here they're telling us, don't drink sports drinks if you're not working out more than 2 hours a day. I go, nonsense. Sports drinks help hydrate our seniors. That's the way it is. If you're a diabetic, you have to be careful. If you have to watch your sodium, you have to be careful. But if you're not doing this, you're going to start getting symptoms like lightheadedness, dizziness, weakness, things like that. And if you're not watching your weight, that gives you a volume, your blood pressure, that tells you something about the volume, you're going to end up being in trouble. And guess what? You're going to be in stress.
That's exactly right.
And it's going to turn around and cycle around, and it's really going to end up getting you. So these decisions that people are making, our seniors, you know, they're being stressed out from the financial issues, the food issues. There's a lot of things that are background noise to them, but all of a sudden raise up their heads to really swallow them up and cause lots of problems for them.
It really does. What is your take on that?
Well, my take is that I believe that I create my own stress. Mm-hmm. I create my own reality, and it's all self-created, and it's all created by me. And we can talk about that when we come back from the break.
That's right. Let's take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Hi, we're the Cub Scouts from Pack 575.
We have a message for you. Always be prepared.
Watch SCVT TV. 1, 2, 3. Cub Scouts rule!
In conclusion, our database management solution promises a 23% return in the first year alone.
In conclusion, our database management solution promises a 23% return in the first year alone.
In conclusion, our database management solution promises a 23% return in the first year alone.
Will they remember you? Everything is image, and you need your image on everything. For the most cost-effective solution, visit AmericanLogosForYou.com to put the name you choose on the things you choose. Advertise your company, promote your school, commemorate your family reunion. The possibilities are endless. Visit AmericanLogosForYou.com because everything is image.
I can't grasp why, but Bob's pitch seemed on target somehow.
Right. I can't put my finger on it, but Bob was memorable.
I agree. Bob's pitch made the right impression.
Let's award the contract to Bob then.
Make sure people remember you. Visit AmericanLogosForYou.com because everything is image.
The Donut Inn on Soledad Canyon Road has a new name, California Bakery and Cafe. You still get the donuts, hot chocolate and fresh squeezed juices, the sandwiches, croissants, and our famous tamales. But you'll also get cakes for parties, celebrations, and major events. Our unique bread baskets offer a one-of-a-kind gift, all with the personal service you have come to expect for the last 35 years. Get a cup of coffee and a Danish 24 hours a day. California Bakery and Cafe.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. We're talking with Alex Urbina, life leadership coach, about self and about the main thing about self is the stress associated with that and how self plays a role in our stress. Tell us about what your beliefs are, Alex.
Yeah, I believe that, when life's going to happen, it's just always continuously happening. It's evolving, it's showing up, it's unfolding itself all the time. And I noticed that I focus on what I don't want, I start to resist it. And what I'm focusing on, I don't want, I resist that, and that's what causes the stress. It's like if I asked you to put your hand up, and I put my hand up, and I said, I want you to resist my hand. And as you start pushing, you start feeling the stress. Where are you feeling it at? Like in your elbows and your arm, right?
Yes, and it's going up into my shoulders.
Exactly. That's because you're resisting my hand here.
Interesting.
And all you got to do is just surrender, not resisting me. Now let's do this again. So I know you guys can't watch, but my hand's up, your hand's up, and you're pushing against my hand, and I'm pushing against your hand. Now, once you let go, go ahead and let go. And then when you let go, there's no more game playing. That's right. I can't play with nobody. That's so right. if you focus on what you don't want, you actually give it life. You're giving it more energy. And more energy and more life, you're causing and creating more of what you don't want. The minute you turn your back on it and don't focus on what you don't want and start focusing on what you do want, which is a solution or an answer, you're so powerful that you will start to figure out a new solution to what you want that contradicts and combats what you don't want. I don't know if that makes sense to you. You have to start focusing on what the solution is and stop focusing on what the problem is.
Absolutely. I think you always have to move forward and define what your problem is. If you don't define that problem, you'll never achieve a solution. If you can, and what we see commonly is criticizing the problem.
That's right.
But we never see a route, a step-by-step manner to get to the solution.
That's
We're
right.
not getting the feedback that we need from all the people and self to be able to come up with ideas to move in the right direction.
Well, I think the reason for that is that we, when we come up against that, don't feel it's our fault. It's that other person's fault. They're the ones causing me the stress.
True.
It's their fault. It has nothing to do with me, which is absolutely false. Mm-hmm. Because I'm the one that's allowing this to happen to me, whatever this is. Mm-hmm.
Which now opens up the possibility that you have to start taking responsibility for your life, and you got to start looking through the filters of being responsible rather than being the victim.
Absolutely.
Because when you're looking through the filters of being the victim, then you're powerless, and then everything's happening to you. Rather than I'm the cause of things. Because of who I'm being or who I'm not being is creating the result that's coming up for me. And you resisting whatever it is that you are not in control of or you can't control or that you don't want is what's causing all the stress.
Let's look at it from a different angle. We had talked, and I'd been on that soapbox about the meals over at the senior center, but if a senior is listening to this and they're saying, no, I exactly understand what's going on with those meals and the cost, and I can't afford to pay for it. This is an outside problem now influencing them. How a senior listening to this, how would they then reflect back and say, I'm not going to resist this. I'm not going to allow it to affect me. But what do they do with the meal? I mean, they have to eat something. Are we saying, oh yeah, we'll find a solution? The solution is we'll go down to the nearest restaurant and we'll go through the trash there and eat what we can. That's not a solution to me. I mean, how are we going to apply what we're talking about to the situation example that we had before with a senior facing something impacting them, like not having a meal, and then what we're talking about moving ahead, finding solutions, and how they're gonna find that solution. How should they look at it then, Alex?
Well, first of all, they have to stop looking at it through the filters of being victimized. Like, why is this happening to me? What's going on? And stop looking at it like it's something that happened to them rather than just something that happened in life. right? Some people are making some decisions. There's probably funding that's not available. There's someone made a decision, period. So be neutral about the decision, first of all. So you're not riled up and you're getting resistance to it, and it's something that you're pushing up against. That's number one. Number two is step into now a responsible version of, okay, now it's my responsibility to figure out how to feed myself, right? So now you step in to take responsibility. So as a responsible person, how do I now go figure out how to create a meal for me and the people here at the center? I believe that if it just takes one person to get clear about it, maybe has a meeting at their house or in the rec room, and you invite other people to join you in your mission of let's take a responsible version and let's take a stand for ourselves and figuring out how to get these meals replaced. I believe that the group of powerful people that are committed to creating a result will start figuring out how to reinvent themselves to make sure that they create a meal for themselves.
And we invented ourselves, Barbara, when the hospital here told us that they were closing our transitional care unit down 6 or 7 years ago. And we came together, formed a group, and from the city to people in the community, everybody showed up to say, we're not going to allow this to happen.
That's right.
And
That's right.
fought them off. But, we organized that. There are some people that just, Alex, don't have it in them.
That's right.
And I say that's a small percentage.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go on the break, I just want to make this point. It's way easier to be a victim and to complain about it. Rather than to look at yourself, realize you have the power to make a new choice and make a difference and stand up and then create something. See, as human beings, we don't realize we're powerful enough to create whatever we want.
And it's interesting because at that time we felt good about what we were doing.
Still
regardless,
do.
yes, regardless of the outcome, we took a stand.
That's right.
And that was very important for all of us who were involved, and there were a lot of people involved. And we need to take a break, don't we? I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Hi, I'm Dirk Fisher, and you're watching SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
You chose the Santa Clarita Valley for quality of life, but you also need quality of health. In the last few years, Henry Mayo has dramatically advanced care for our maturing population, introducing life-saving cardiovascular services, achieving an advanced primary stroke center designation, receiving the highest cancer program accreditation, and developing new joint replacement and spine programs. In fact, Henry Mayo is now a Best Los Angeles Regional Hospital. Henry Mayo, helping ensure your quality of life through better quality of health.
Scratch Golf Accelerated, Santa Clarita's unique indoor golf training and fun center. We have great programs for kids and adults of all levels. Rain or shine, we're here to improve your golf game and have fun doing it.
It's great to practice with just the girls at Scratch.
We enjoy playing in the adult league at night. It's a great time.
And they make it so much fun for the kids too.
We love Scratch!
Come see us at Scratch.
To the Senior Hour, I'm Dr. Jean Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. We're talking with Alex Urbina, who is a life leadership coach, but the big things that our seniors are concerned about, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and retirement, and being able to survive these days, this idea about victimization. And I don't think any one of the seniors that I know in this community will say that I am a victim. They're not going to subconsciously take that role. They're going to move their foot forwards. They come through a lot. They're the World War II veterans. They lived through that, whether they were in the service or not. The Korean War, they built the country. They've done all these things. I think the attitude is the strength of their personality, where they're coming from, how they're going to move forward, but they don't want to turn around and say, I'm the victim in this case, and they don't want to create themselves and look at themselves as being victims.
Well, if you're whining and complaining about anything, That's a victim perspective. I'm not saying you're a victim. What I'm saying is that you're just looking through the filters of being in the victim perspective, meaning you're powerless. You're basically making a statement. Every time you whine and complain about something, you're making a statement to the world, to the universe, to the people around you that you're not powerful enough to change it or influence it to look any different. Otherwise, you wouldn't complain about it. You wouldn't be talking about it. You would be trying to figure out how to make it look different, how to create the result to benefit you. So every time you catch yourself complaining or whining or calling up your friend to just run it or rant, it's because you're making that statement that you're not powerful enough to make a difference in it.
Yeah. So stop being the victim and start looking for solutions.
Yeah, just choose to not give it more energy. Stop focusing on what you don't want. Even in the complaining, you're still focusing and you're looking and creating this whole game around what it is that you don't want, which also says that you're resisting it. So surrender, accept, turn around, and now start focusing on what the solution is. So let's talk about getting a disease, right? You get a disease, and I know they talk about there's different phases you go through, right? What are some of the phases?
Depression,
anger, denial. So denial. Here's a big one. Denial. When you can move through denial quickly, and get to a place of acceptance, is the moment that you flip a switch and you start focusing on, all right, now how do I start getting healthy? So the denial part is you what? It's you resisting what you don't want.
Right.
You're resisting that you have diabetes. You're resisting that you have cancer. You're resisting that you have something that you don't want. The minute you can just finally go, you know what? All right, I have it. Great. Now what?
And this is what our seniors do well because it's a challenge.
Yes.
The World War II, Korean War, moving forward. These are the challenges they faced, and that's why we want people to keep things in perspective and keep moving forward.
That's right.
Realize we're all human. We're going to feel that we're victims, and that's okay. But to then, just as you said, Alex, to say, I accept this. I'm in this position, facing the facts, but now I'm going to move forward.
That's right. It's make a decision to move through your resistance to whatever it is that you can't control, that you don't want. Move through it quickly. Don't sit around and swim in it for weeks. Do backstrokes in it for months, for years. Get to a point where you're like, all right, it is what it is. So what? Now what? If it's to be, it's up to me. And start looking forward to creating a solution for whatever it is that you're desiring.
So with my patients, I find that, I've made a diagnosis and we're looking at what the problem is, but I will tell you a lot of relief comes in when I will say to them, this is what we have to do. This is how we've analyzed the situation. This is how we are going to move forward on this, educating them, keeping it in perspective, saying, okay, you need to see this physician as a referral or get this kind of treatment in the future, take this kind of medication, expect these side effects. But once I see them accepting it and I've presented how they can move forward, they do much better psychologically.
It's inspiring.
And it's almost a miracle because now with that positive thinking, they're not pushing themselves backwards. They're relieving themselves of that depression. And it just makes it easier to take that next step in life.
And then there's also some people that realize, some people they get the information that confirming they have a disease. Some people actually become the disease rather than I have the disease doesn't have me. Does that make sense? There's a distinct difference between I have it rather than it has me. If you give your power to it, it's just going to take over you. And I don't know, I know you're in the medical field, and I know you've seen people that have a powerful outlook, and in their mind they get crystal clear about getting healthy, and they have turnarounds. And then you've seen other people that now make it bigger than it is, and the disease just takes over them, gets them into a depression, gets them to a place where now they've surrendered to the disease, and the disease is now going to just fester, and you're giving it more life and more energy and more power.
Not for me.
Well, but it's a personality thing, though, with you, Barbara. Your personality would not submit to that. and move backwards.
But part of her
You're moving
personality
forward.
is also part of her outlook.
Mhm.
The way her outlook, the way you view it, the way you
Mhm.
see it is part of how it gives you that strength and that confidence to say.
That's interesting. Let's talk about that when we come back from break, because that's a very
Hmm.
important element. It really is. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Hello, I'm Captain Ed Colley. You're watching SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
This is a channel for the community. This is a channel for the community.
We're the Santa Clarita Valley's only television channel, but we're more than just a media outlet.
When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Jean Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. We were talking about stress and a lot of stress that comes from disease. And during our break, Barbara was talking about how the stresses of World War II and living in England at the time were just really not an easy thing to overcome, even now in life.
No, and I was just a little girl.
Yeah,
I was 6 and 7 years old.
yeah.
And I remember it so vividly, it's unbelievable. I'll never forget it,
Yeah.
some of my experiences. And I think that probably had a lot to do with my outlook on life now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it did. Because there was always hope. There was always something to look forward to.
But you
know.
also said that how your mom inspired your survival.
Yes.
Just was always there to say, "You're okay." You told Edna and you, "This is fine. We're not
That's
gonna, we're gonna do okay." But got upset when you realized how close sometimes you did come to dying.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. But
yeah.
I think my experiences as a young child shaped my outlook on life.
Mhm.
Because I've always been a positive person.
Mhm.
And when this situation hit me with this non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, I thought, hey, I'm going to beat this.
Mhm.
It's not going to get hold of me. I'm going to beat it. And I am beating it. There's only one place it's left in my body. And after this next chemo, it's going to be gone.
Congratulations.
I know it will.
But it stems
it
from
will.
your attitude, though, and I just wonder with your, not that a war would allow you to have a different attitude, but as Alex said, I see patients who their personalities take hold, and all of a sudden their disease is a part of them that they can't. They're shackled by it, and it becomes a piece of their personality, and they become victimized because of it. But I wonder how all of our backgrounds play a role, and then when it comes to something like your health, and then a barrier in your health, how then you approach it, how then you look at it maybe not as a victim, and I don't think you did at all, Barb,
No.
but you're looking forward and saying, okay, I know I have this, but I'm moving forward. How do we all differ in different ways and approaching now for our seniors? Oh, I can't get a meal here at the senior center. What am I going to do? And some of them end up going, well, I'm going to find a way, whereas others will go, I give up.
I give up. And, it's interesting, the woman in the reception hall to hear today, we were talking about it. She's been living with cancer for years and is still living with it. And her outlook is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I wholeheartedly agree with her. What good does it do you to stress out? It makes you worse. You keep looking forward because tomorrow will be a better day. And it absolutely will. There's no doubt about it, as far as I'm concerned.
So what I was inspired from her was I saw in her face the surrenderedness, totally surrendered to, I have it, so
Absolutely.
what, now what, let's move forward. If it's to be, it's
Absolutely.
up to me. I get to live my life every day, and every day is a blessing. So it changed her outlook shifted. She had a perspective shift at some point where she just realized, I'm now not going to focus on the cancer. I'm just going to focus on living my life. And if you saw the look in her eyes,
Oh, yes.
she was just it was about living her life.
Absolutely. Talking about her children, her 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. It was quite a revelation, because I'm thinking, wow, wow, this woman is incredible.
Mm-hmm. And she had purpose.
Yes.
She had a reason. She had to move forward. She had family. She had people backing her up. She had community, and a reason to be doing things.
That's actually what she said. It came out of her own mouth. She said, I realized through this whole journey that the purpose of life. She flat out said that out of her own mouth. So once you get clear about what your purpose is and live a purpose-driven life, you just get focused. You get dialed in, and you get focused on what's really important and what really matters to you. And a certain disease or a certain problem is just not where you want to put your energy or your time to, and it becomes less important. And you start looking on what I'm committed to, rather than what I don't want.
Do you know, though, that when I first started medicine 3 decades ago, I mean, there was a thought, there really wasn't a thought about how our stress affects us physically. That connection was not there. I mean, many doctors would say, no, it's in your head. It's supratentorial, they called it, which is, that's something they're just thinking of and creating their own problems. But we know now that stress can cause problems in your body. Stress can lead to illness. And my perfect example of it is that, and it's kind of a evolving one with everything we're talking about, but I had a patient who his wife was a pianist and a concert pianist, but she developed Alzheimer's. But for like 5 or 6 years, at the end of her life, he was the total caregiver. He had that purpose to take care of her and make sure she was okay, and kept doing that, and was the consummate example of what a human being is like. And finally, she started to deteriorate rapidly, went on hospice, passed away, and he was okay with that, but his purpose was gone. And within a year of that time, about 9 months later, came in complaining of abdominal pain, and I examined him. We couldn't find the source. We didn't know what was wrong. We did scoping, scans, everything, couldn't find it. Then we had to operate on him, opened him up, and a malignant melanoma that he had had 20 years before was now in his abdomen, and he passed away within a week of that time period. And so he had purpose, took care of his wife, held everything off, any kind of cancers, but once he didn't have purpose anymore, and the depression of the loss of his wife set in, boom, that took him over.
Yeah, it was too much. It was overwhelming.
It plays a role.
That's right.
So when I have experiences like that, and that was probably around 15 years ago, I go, don't ever tell me, even though I'm a classical type of physician here in this country, that stress or the psychology of life doesn't play a role in how we do physically. Don't ever tell me there's no connection, because there definitely is. And once we figure out and realize that there is a connection and know how to handle it, then physically our lives will be better.
That's right.
Absolutely. And we need to take another break, unfortunately. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Hello, I'm Gail Pinsker. You're watching SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, Mark. Hey. Where have you been? I lost my cat. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, so I made this cat magnet to try and get him back. Cool. Does it work? Kinda. Nice. Yeah, but that's not my cat. Gotta keep working on it. See ya. Yeah.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org.
Santa Clarita is Southern California's entertainment destination. Just minutes from LA, Santa Clarita's year-round weather means you can enjoy year-round fun. Like thrilling coasters and water parks, premium shopping, destination day spas, fine dining, outdoor adventure, and major events such as wine festivals, golf tournaments, and the Cowboy Festival. Santa Clarita, always in season.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. And we've been speaking with Alex Urbina, who is a life leadership coach, and our subject has been stress. Alex, can you give us and our listening audience some pointers on how to combat stress?
Well, there's only one key thing to combat stress, and that's to surrender that which you cannot control, and surrender, that whatever it is that showed up in your life, it's there for a reason. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is, it could be our greatest lesson. So whatever's coming up, whether you didn't get your paycheck to pay the mortgage that month, sit down and look at that, and instead of resisting it and being upset at it and complaining about it, just surrender to it first. I'm not saying that you accept it and then don't figure out a solution. All I'm saying is to relieve the stress, just surrender it. And the key is surrender. And people that are spiritual or believe in a higher power, they know about this. They know how to surrender. They either can surrender to a higher power or they surrender to the universe, but they know how to just get off it. And once you get off it, then that frees you up to be more in a relaxed, peaceful state. And then from that point forward, now start figuring out a solution from that state. Once you've surrendered the anxiety and the stress that could be caused from it.
But you also said it should become a lesson of life that you've approached and you're looking at. It's a lesson that you can learn something from to move forward. And then when you can find solutions to that problem, once you've surrendered, learned that it's something you learned from, and you're going to now move forward, you learn how to do this.
It's only a learned lesson if you choose to see it like that.
Correct.
Because I can have,
it will be always a problem.
Exactly. It's always going to keep showing up as a problem.
But see, this is what we need to teach our children, that when they have a problem that they're facing, the stress, the impact that's coming at them, to take that step back, look at it, that they're going to learn from this lesson, approach it with the idea that you're going to then be able to find solutions and learn how to find those solutions. Once you do that in life will become a lot easier when you're 60, 70, 80 years old, and you're able to make sure that that you're always learning something from it, that you're always gaining the information, that you're always taking that next step forward and not allowing yourself to get depressed and allow that stress to affect you physically or mentally.
That's right. It takes practice.
Lots of practice.
A lot of practice.
Do it when you're young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do it when you're older.
That's right. Keep doing it, and once you do it,
it's never too late. But what it does take is it takes courage, and you have to dig down deep, and you have to be willing to look at yourself deeply.
Absolutely.
And have a reckoning with yourself, and be willing to surrender all the goodies, because we also get goodies for being stressed out too.
Oh yes.
And that's a whole nother show. But some of those goodies is that we get to complain to people and get sympathy and validation and pity and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother show. But the first key is to surrender and just stop resisting those things that you can't control, or the solution or the problems that you have in
and
your
you'll
life.
manage your stress a lot better.
That's right.
Yes, you certainly
So
will.
Alex, if anybody wants to get a hold of you and your group, and especially bring those kids in to start learning some of those life lessons.
Well, we're over at the Action Family Zone. We have a new teen center. It's an enrichment and empowerment center where we do experiential workshops and trainings to help build self-esteem and leadership, develop leadership qualities for the kids out here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Action Family Zone is at 661-467-2714. And you can, if you want to get a hold of me, call me there and ask for me or leave me a voicemail, and I'll return any message you send.
And where is the Action Zone located?
We're on the corner. We're in the Soledad Canyon Plaza on the corner of Ruther and Soledad Canyon Road.
Okay. Okay.
Always great information, and it applies to our kids, but it also definitely applies to our seniors. Our seniors facing this major stress from our home delivered meals and getting meals in this community. We're going to solve that problem. We're going to work forward through the county and the city, and through donors. We're going to make sure that this does not happen here. This is our
with
city.
people like you two leading that group, I believe that you guys will overcome something.
Well, we'll bring a few picket signs out
Yes,
there.
yes, we will.
Well, that's really exciting, Alex. Thanks for being here again today. Once again, Alex's phone number is 661-467-2714. That's 467-2714. We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.